Hi everybody, it's Katie here. I'm making this video to give you a little walk through some of the new features on the updated ePortfolio and especially how you can use them to make sure that you've got everything ready for ARCP. So I'm going to talk you through a few different views that you can use, and the first thing to note is that all of these views that I'm going to show you, they are the same views that the ARCP panel have. So hopefully that can reassure you a little bit that if you can see them on these views, then that's also what the ARCP panel can view. So hopefully that will get rid of some of the anxiety around whether tags have imported, etc. So to start with, I'm just on my dashboard, and if you scroll down to the second box, you can see we've got a box here, your ePortfolio information by report hyperlinks, and there's lots of different links here, and I'm going to talk you through the most useful ones. Now, the first thing to look at is there are two different types of curriculum. So if you are a old style level 1 or 2 trainee, which is now called a core trainee, so up to ST5 on the old system, but will be up to ST4 on the new system, you will probably just have this one, generic curriculum evidence, and it will say at core level, not specialty level. I am an ST7, so I'm an old level 3 trainee and what is now called a specialty level trainee. So I have two curriculums and they have very similar names, but they are different. So you have a generic curriculum at specialty level, so that's for ST6 to 8s under the old curriculum, and it will be 5 to 7 under the new curriculum. And then you will also have a general paediatrics at specialty level curriculum. Now, the difference between these two, so generic curriculum is the curriculum that everybody is following, no matter what ST you are and no matter whether you are doing grid or spin or anything else. This curriculum, if you are not doing grid, so if you are a general paediatrics trainee, you will have a general paediatrics at specialty level curriculum. If you are doing grid, you will have your specific grid curriculum at that point, so it will say neonatal curriculum or haematology curriculum or whatever it is that you're doing. So these two are very useful for seeing how many things you've linked to all of the curriculum items and whether you've got any gaps. So just working through the generic one first. So remember, this is the curriculum that everybody has, and it will either be for core level or specialty level. If you click on this one, it will load up a report and show you what you've tagged to each domain. So you can change the date range here, so you can change it to the last 6 months or the last 12 months, or you can change it to cover your entire paediatric training. And then this works through the 11 domains. So these will be more familiar to trainees who've been on the old curriculum. You've got your 11 domains and it will show you what you've linked to each domain. And as you go down, you can see each key capability. It lists them off at the top and then you can see what you've linked to them. And you'll see if you've got any gaps or anything where you don't have very much linked to it. So those are kind of areas to target. And if you want to double check what it is you linked, so for example here you can see I've got a few dots, you can just click here to review and it will show you a mini version of your dots and you can remind yourself what that was. Oh, that was putting in a line, okay, fine. So this is a really useful view to just check that you've got things tagged to each area of the curriculum, and I would say this is a good place to look at with your supervisor if you're doing your initial reviews or your midpoint reviews, to target any areas where you've realised you haven't had much chance to sign that off and you might want to target it. So that is your generic curriculum view. And then if you go back to the dashboard and again scroll to that second box, I'm going to ignore this middle one for a second, but here you've got your general paediatrics curriculum. So again, remember this is for specialty level trainees, so it'll be ST6 to 8 currently or ST5 to 7 on the new curriculum. And you'll have here your specific curriculum for your specialty. So your specialty is either general paediatrics, or if you're grid, it will be your grid specialty. Again, you can change the date range and it goes through each of for these you have learning outcomes rather than domains, and then you have your key capabilities. And again, you can see, you get a little graph as well as the list, and you can see how many things you've got tagged to each thing. You can scroll down and check if there's any gaps and see if there's anything that's missing. And again, if you want to double check what something was, so you can see I've got a gap here, I need to fill this in, you can click on it and have a little review. So you can have a little look at, let's see, there's a development log here and you can just quickly see what it was. So those I think are the two most useful views in this new dashboard view. The middle one here, this again is for the generic curriculum, so that's the curriculum that everybody follows. This just gives you raw numbers, so you don't get that little preview box and you don't get to see exactly what you linked to each domain. But if you just want to check really quickly, have I got something tagged to each capability, you can just scroll down through this and you get the little graphs, and it shows you you've got 5 things tagged to curriculum capability 1 and 3 things tagged to number 5, and you can just check if there's any gaps. The other really useful views, I'll work through all of them, but the next one down, so this is your mandatory assessments for your level. So again, I'm specialty level, you might be core level. If you click on this one, it shows you what mandatory assessments you need to have for your level. So for me, I've got leader CBDs, safeguarding CBDs, MSFs, and then your supervision. And again, you can change the dates if you need to. These 2 views will just give you a list of, this is every assessment you've done, so all your SLEs, so CBDs, KEXs, mini KEXs, DOPS, safeguarding, all of those will be in here, so you can just get a list of all of them. And this is all your development logs, so any reflections you've ever written, you'll find them here. This one I think is also useful because it's your mandatory certificates you need for ARCP, so it's child protection and life support, so NLS, APLS, EPALS. And what's useful in this view is it will show you your expiry dates, so you can just double check down here and make sure that everything is up to date. So you can see your expiry dates for my EPALS and my NLS there, so I'm still in date, and I've got my level 3 safeguarding, so you can just double check that you've got those ready before ARCP. This view is quite useful just to know that it's there. So this is outstanding assessment. So these are tickets you've sent that haven't been filled in. So if you need to see if you've got some tags that haven't been filled in yet, or you want to kind of just double check what's missing. The other thing that's quite useful about these is that the ARCP panel can actually see this. So if you have got tickets that you've sent and you're really struggling to get them signed off, they can still open it, and they've got the same preview view, so they can see if you've written reflective notes, or you just kind of want to show that you have done something but you're just struggling to get it signed off. So for example, you can still open it, and even though it hasn't been signed off, they can see that I've done it. Obviously it doesn't negate the need to have a properly signed off version, but I know that it can be quite frustrating if you feel like you've written lots of reflective notes around a case and someone's not filled it in. The ARCP panel can still see it, so that might make you feel a little bit better. And then the last couple of things that we have here, you've got start domains if you're someone who's done start. So I haven't done start yet, so mine's blank. But if you click on it, you can see it'll tell you kind of what you got for your start assessment and any points you have for reparations there. And then the last box is your CCT date. So if you need to double check when your CCT date is, it will tell you when you're expecting to CCT. And that will be based on your last ARCP. So hopefully that will make it a little bit easier for you to find the things that you need to find. Just to recap, the 2 I think most useful ones are this one here, generic curriculum evidence. So that is the curriculum that everybody is following, no matter what level you are. That's your 11 domains, and you can click on that and it will show you what you've got tagged to each domain. And then if you are a higher level trainee, so if you're a specialty level trainee, you will also have either a general paediatrics curriculum or a specialty curriculum. And again, you can look at that to make sure you've tagged the things that need to be tagged. And then just a final note about SPIN. I know that SPIN is a little bit tricky now because it's harder to find. But if you scroll down to the 3rd box, you should have your SPIN goals here. This view is a little bit tricky and not quite as nice as the views above, but you can see, if I click on one, you can see what you have tagged. So you can kind of click and it will show you if you've got anything linked to it. So that wasn't a good example because I've got nothing linked to it, but then you can see if you've got things linked there. And there is guidance on the RCPCH website on how to tag things to your SPIN, because it is slightly different now on the new dashboard. So that's just a quick summary of how to find everything you need for your ARCP. There's going to be lots of guidance on the website, but if you have any issues with your ePortfolio or any issues with your tagging, or you're worried that you can't see things, there are contact details for the ePortfolio team on the RCPCH website, and they are the best people to speak to because they're the ones who can change things. So please do get in touch with the RCPCH team if you are struggling.